Hey, you guys. Oh, no, Sherry. I'm still not awake either. Um, this is too early, which I say it's too early because I stayed up too late last night. I was trying to get some work done last night. So hey everyone. Hey, Wooden. Hey, you guys. So I am. All right. Fox News has it up. Can we? Yeah, we can stream Fox News. All right, let's go to Fox News because Law and Crime. I don't know what they're doing. They're showing other clips, and it says from day 27, so it has me wondering if that's old footage. So we're gonna go to Fox New Fox Fox 9 Minneapolis, and we're gonna bring it up. And excuse me, I don't have any makeup on, so if I look a little different, that is why. I'm gonna do my makeup while we listen to the trial, the sentencing. And you guys, I know a lot of people probably think that a sentencing is like that, like in and out. When I went to Duggar's sentencing, we were there. We were there for literally from 9 in the morning, which we got there at like 5 in the morning or something to get in line. But it started at 9 and like it didn't end until like 3 or something. So Court TV's not showing it. I have Fox 9 Minneapolis St. Paul pulled up. But this is all that they're showing right now is that big thing. That. Um, and then Law and Crime Network is live right now, but it says, well, okay. I saw day 27 and I'm like, day 27? I remember the judge saying yesterday it was day 28, right? So I thought today was like day 29. But it does say sentencing day 27. So I guess today is day 27. I don't know. Oh, y'all know what? I saw somebody over in Law and Crime. I got an eyelash in my eye. I saw somebody from Law and Crime come up with a good theory of where the guns and the clothes are. The guns and the clothes that Alec Murdaugh had on when he shot his wife and son, what if he put them in his dad's casket when his dad died? Y'all know his dad died just days later, right? What if he put them in the casket? Wouldn't that be freaking crazy? Maybe so. Because I know yesterday the judge was like day 28. I'm like, all right, day 28, And now in here it says today, sentencing day is day 27. So I was like, what? Hey, Jerry, you know what? I have a good friend of mine that I mean, we're not friends anymore just because we lost contact, but I grew up with all the way from kindergarten to high school to even after high school we hung out. His name was Jerry D. My brother dated his sister, and we all grew up in one town called Marthaville, like Martha Stewart. That's not the real town. I don't know if that town exists, but cute name, right? So we all grew up in this town called Marthaville. We'll call Marthaville, and oh, I literally just sliced my own lip with my fingernail. And we started kindergarten together, me and Jerry D, and we were good friends. We even dated a couple of times in like middle school. But his sister started dating my brother, and they dated all the way from like sixth grade or something until they were adults. Like when my brother was like 25, he was living with her sister. So, and what's so crazy is we started in Marthaville, went through like most of school in Marthaville, and then like my 10th grade year, I transferred to another school to be closer to my boyfriend. And like a year later, his mom would buy a house in that same town. So he ended up coming over to my new school, and yeah. Not often that I hear that name, Jerry D. I like that name though. And he married a girl named Laura, and they have a baby. And what's her name? Her name's like a combination of their names. I cannot remember. Maybe I'll remember before the end of the stream. Y'all, I just bam my lip when I was doing this ridiculousness to my hair. Y'all, because my under hair is a lot shorter than the rest of my hair. The reason why is because when I got arrested, I decided, I took it upon myself to have a hair follicle test done to show that I don't have drugs in my system and I don't do drugs. I went and paid the $300 myself to have it done. And went and had it done myself. And a lot of the hair that they took was under here. Now, they did go through sections like over here, but they took like, it's like they gave me an undercut almost, you know, which I've had undercuts when I was younger. But anyways, so now, I don't know, my hair is like way shorter underneath my head. It sucks. God, what is that kid's name? Anyways, y'all, when I went live last night for us to go over the verdict together, at one point, we had a decent amount of people in here, considering that any other time I've covered the trial with so many other people covering it, we haven't had that many people in here. Oh, listen, they're about to show a replay of them. I want to see a replay of them giving him the verdict. But anyways, as I talked about my disbelief and felt like I wasn't convinced, we lost several people watching the stream. But that's okay. I hope I didn't offend anybody with my opinion. Let's listen to what's going on over here for a minute.
2021, Alec Murdaugh called 911, and Officer Deputy Green, and then followed by other deputies, rolled up on the scene. And he is standing on his property. His wife and son lie dead in a pool of blood each. He's within yards of him, and he just put a shotgun down. He just put a shotgun down. And what would that look like? 90 out of 100 cases when an officer rolls up, it would look like the person who had the shotgun and two dead bodies may have done it, probably have done it. Certainly is someone who should be strongly considered. And all the officers in this case told you that. Deputy Rutland said, yeah, Alec Murdaugh was a suspect, but there are a lot of suspects out there. Everybody was a suspect. Fair enough.
Ah! Y'all! They got him in prison guard! They got him in prison guard! He's in his suit. His prison guard.
Good morning.
Sorry, I'm scared, y'all.
Parties ready to proceed?
State's ready, Your Honor.
Bench is ready, Your Honor.
All right, from the state, Mr. Waters.
Thank you, Your Honor. We're obviously here in the sentencing for the state versus Richard Alexander Murdaugh. Your Honor, I have prepared the sentencing sheets signed up. If I can hand those up to the clerk.
I'm so sorry if I scared
Your
you.
Honor, very quickly, the defendant has no prior record, and the state has no victim impact people who want to speak at this time. But I will address the court briefly. And I don't need, Your Honor, to repeat the evidence that Your Honor just heard for the past 6 weeks, but it is overwhelming. And it shows this man to be a cunning manipulator, a man who placed himself above all others, including his family. A man who violated the trust of so many, including his friends, his family, his partners, his profession, but most of all, Maggie and Paul. This is a very complicated situation, and I want to offer my condolences to the family that has suffered here. We have tried very hard to be respectful and sensitive regardless of what position any person took, because this family has suffered and they've had to suffer in the public eye. And I want to offer my condolences to this family. I want to offer it for Maggie and Paul and Mr. Randolph too, who I had the pleasure of working with on one occasion. But the reality remains is that despite all this attention, this case is about Maggie Murdaugh and Paul Murdaugh, and I'm so thankful that the jurors gave them a voice. You heard about Paul. Obviously, there was the boat case, but you also heard him described as a fun-loving young man, a person who loved life, a person who would do anything for his friends, for anyone. And he's cut down as he was just starting to live his life. You heard about Maggie. You heard how sweet she was. You heard that she was a girl's girl who adapted to the outdoorsman life of her sons, how much she loved her sister and her brother-in-law and their children. And she was cut down in the prime of her life. Both of them, like everyone else, was unaware of who he really was. No one who thought they knew this man, no one who thought they were close to this man knew who he really was. And, Your Honor, that's chilling. And I've looked in his eyes, and he liked to stare me down as he would walk by me during this trial. And I could see the real Alex Murdaugh when he looked at me. The depravity, the callousness, the selfishness of these crimes are stunning. The lack of remorse and the effortless way in which he lies, including here, sitting right over there in this witness stand. Your Honor, a man like that, a man like this man, should never be allowed to be among free, law-abiding citizens again.
Wow.
And I would submit to you that the only just sentence here to give justice for Maggie and Paul is the maximum, and that would be 2 consecutive life sentences. Thank you, Your Honor.
You indicate that no victim would like to speak at this time. Would any victim like to speak at any time during these proceedings?
Your Honor, one of the things we did early on, obviously, as I just said, it's a very complicated situation, but we made the decision early on. We've had our victim advocate here, who's been doing a wonderful job, regardless of the viewpoints of any individual family member, to provide aid and service to them. And we made that decision. I'm informed by our victim advocate that none of them wish to speak. The defense can certainly address that, but that's what I'm informed. But they certainly were offered the opportunity as is required. And I want to commend our victim advocate on the excellent job she did in handling this complex situation that we wanted to be sensitive to, because again, none of us are not mindful of the fact of the suffering of this family.
I know Sled Chief Mark Keel is here. Would you like to address the court on any matters, Chief?
Yes, sir. Just to say, again, very proud of our agents' work they've done. I'm proud of the partnership that we've had with the Attorney General's office that we've had for many years. And again, we're here to see that justice is served, and we believe it has been. Thank you.
Thank you. For the defense.
Your Honor, Mr. Griffin and I would have no comment. The defendant would like to address the court, though.
What? Wow.
Good morning, Your Honor. I'm innocent. I would never hurt my wife, Maggie, and I would never hurt my son, Paul.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Okay, I don't like stopping, but I'm going to say this is going to affect his sentencing. He should not have done that, because judges, one thing on their scorecard is if the perpetrator acknowledged the outcome. Like Josh Duggar, he got more time because he refused to accept that he was guilty, that he was found guilty. So I think this is going to bite him in the butt.
Anything further?
I don't think further comment is necessary, Your Honor. Thank you.
Mr. Murdaugh, if you will come to the court for sentencing.
It's moving way faster than Josh Duggar's did, I can tell you that.
This has been perhaps one of the most troubling cases, not just for me as a judge, for the state, for the defense team, but for all of the citizens in this community, all the citizens in this state, and as we've seen based on the media coverage throughout the nation. You have a wife who's been killed, murdered, a son savagely murdered, a lawyer, a person from a respected family who has controlled justice in this community for over a century, a person whose grandfather's portrait hang at the back of the courthouse that I had to have ordered removed in order to ensure that a fair trial was had by both the state and the defense. And I've sat through the trial. Not only have I sat through the trial, but also as the presiding judge of the state grand jury sat through and participated in the issuance of search warrants of various sorts, bond hearings, and have had to consider many things. And we have this case, and I'm also assigned to preside over 99 others, at least 99 other cases. Though testimony has come up regarding many of those other cases, I will not make any comment with regard to any other pending matter, as I have been assigned those cases as well. It's also particularly troubling, Mr. Murdaugh, because as a member of the legal community and a well-known member of the legal community, you've practiced law before me, and we've seen each other at various occasions throughout the years. And it was especially heartbreaking for me to see you go in the media from being a grieving father who lost a wife and a son to being the person indicted and convicted of killing them. And you've engaged in such duplicitous conduct here in the courtroom, here on the witness stand, and as established by the testimony throughout the time leading from the time of the indictment and prior to the indictment throughout the trial to this moment in time. Certainly, you have no obligation to say anything other than saying not guilty. And obviously, as appeals are probably expected or absolutely expected. I would not expect a confession of any kind. In fact, as I've presided over murder cases over the past 22 years, I have yet to find a defendant who could go there, who could go back to that moment in time when they decided to pull the trigger or to otherwise murder someone. I have not been able to get anyone, any defendant, even those who have confessed to being guilty, to go back and explain to me what happened at that moment in time when they opted to pull the trigger, when they opted to commit the most heinous crimes known to man. In this case, qualifies under our death penalty statute based on the statutory aggravating circumstances of two or more people being murdered by the defendant by one act or pursuant to one scheme or course of conduct. I don't question at all the decision of the state not to pursue the death penalty. But as I sit here in this courtroom and look around the many portraits of judges and other court officials and reflect on the fact that over the past century, your family, including you, have been prosecuting people here in this courtroom, and many have received the death penalty, probably for lesser conduct.
He's about to nail his butt.
Remind me of the expression you gave on the witness stand. Was it tangled?
Tangled up, we weave.
Oh, what tangle web we weave. What did you mean by that?
It meant when I lied, I continue to lie.
And the question is, when will it end? When will it end? And it's ended already for the jury because they've concluded that you continued to lie and lied throughout your testimony. And perhaps with all the throng of people here, they, for the most part, all believe, or 80, 90%, 99% believe that you continue to lie now when your statement of denial to the court. Perhaps you believe that it does not matter, that there's nothing that can mitigate a sentence given the crimes that were committed. You know, a notice of alibi was filed in this case by counsel in November, and we conducted a hearing, pretrial hearing, in which you claimed to have been someplace else at the time the crime was committed. Then, after all of the witnesses placed you at the scene of the crime, at the last minute, or last minutes or days, you switch courses and admitted to being there. And then that necessitated more lies and continued to lie. And I said, where will it end? It's already ended for many who have heard you and concluded that it'll never end. But within your own soul, you have to deal with that.
Oh.
and I know you have to see Paul and Maggie during the night times when you're attempting to go to sleep. I'm sure they come and visit you. I'm sure.
All day and every night.
I'm sure. And they will continue to do so. And reflect on the last time they looked you in the eyes, as you looked the jury in the eyes.
Yeah, the judge wasn't saying what you think.
I don't know person who's always been such a gregarious, friendly person and cause your life to be tangled in such a web, such a situation that yours have spun into, and it's so unfortunate because you had such a lovely family of such friendly people, including you, and to go from that to this. Your license to practice law has been stripped away from you. You turned from lawyer to witness, and now have an opportunity to make your final appeal as an ex-lawyer. And it's really surprising that you're waiving this right at this time. And if you opt to do so, it's on you. You're not compelled to say anything. But you have the opportunity to do so.
And I tell you again, I respect this court, but I'm innocent. I would never, under any circumstances, hurt my wife, Maggie. And I would never, under any circumstances, hurt my son, Paul.
Well, and it might not have been you. It might have been the monster you become when you take 15, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 opioid pills. Maybe you become another person. I've seen that before. The person standing before me was not the person who committed the crime, though it's the same individual. We'll leave that at that. Before announcing sentence on these cases, with regard to all of the other pending cases,
I got 99 problems.
are any of them here in Colleton, or I'm sure some of them are?
Yes, sir.
Half of them, or?
I don't have that in front of me, but there are a substantial number of charges here. There's some in Hampton, Orangeburg, Beaufort, Allendale. There may be others that I'm not thinking of right now.
We might have worn out our welcome here in Colleton. They have been, and I'll take this opportunity to thank Sheriff Hill and all of the court officials and really everyone I've met and dealt with while here in Colleton County. Just been great. But without any delay, we're going to schedule some of the other matters. I know Mr. Harpootlian's scheduling is complicated, and you've sacrificed quite a bit to be able to be here defending Mr. Murdaugh, as well as the Attorney General's office, with all the other many things and obligations you have. And to be able to have the Attorney General here, Alan Wilson, for the period of time that he's devoted to being here, along with everyone else, it's been quite a sacrifice. But there are other victims whose cases deserve to be heard. And this case has jumped some of those other cases. Perhaps jumped it because of this case resulting in an assault on the integrity of the judicial system in our state, law enforcement in our state. Even during this trial, the law enforcement have been maligned for the past 5 or 6 weeks by one who had access to the wheels of justice, to be able to deflect the investigation. And as the evidence is pointed out in this case, the looming storm that Mr. Waters talked about, I can just imagine on that day, June 7th, when a lawyer is confronted and confesses to having stolen over $500,000 from a client, and he has a tiger like Mark Tinsley on his tail pursuing discovery in the case involving the death of Mallory Beach, and having a father, for the most part, on his deathbed. I could imagine, or really can't imagine, but I know it had to have been quite a bit going through your mind on that day. But amazingly, to have you come and testify that it was just another ordinary day, that my wife and son and I were out just enjoying life. Not credible, not believable. You can convince yourself about it, but obviously you have the inability to convince anyone else about that. So if you made any such arguments as a lawyer, you would lose every case like that. Cases you will never have an opportunity to argue anymore, except perhaps your own as you sit in the Department of Corrections.
Oh.
Anything further?
No, sir.
All right, Mr. Murdaugh, I sentence you to the State Department of Corrections on each of the murder indictments in the murder of your wife, Maggie Murdaugh. I sentence you for the term of the rest of your natural life for the murder of Paul Murdaugh, whom you probably love so much. I sentence you to prison for murdering him for the rest of your natural life. Those sentences will run consecutive. Under the statute involving possession of a weapon during a violent crime, there is no sentence where a life sentence is imposed on other indictments. That is the sentence of the court, and you are remanded to the State Department of Corrections. And officers may carry forth on the imposition.
That officer that has him looks like he hates him. We're going to replay at the beginning because that officer was sitting behind him, me mugging Alec and shaking his head yes to what I think the prosecution was saying.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Two life sentences. Done got locked up. They won't let him out. What's Randy saying? John Marvin. So they wondered last night, why did Buster have like an officer behind him? That officer, I noticed, like escorts Buster and the family in and out. I wonder if that's like the victim advocate person. Yeah, that he could do. Well, yeah, if he wanted to do something positive, he could help other prisoners with their appeals. He's going to appeal this, I'm sure. Yeah, life and natural born and natural life are different. So I think if you get natural life, you never get out. You die, come out on the gurney.
Before we adjourn, an order was issued concerning maintaining the juror's identity being anonymous. That order was issued, and for the most part, it's been complied with, except for the jury leaving the courtroom yesterday, or not the jury, but the defendant leaving the courtroom while the jury is still seated. Protecting the identity of the jurors is certainly extremely important during the course of a trial to ensure that no one makes contact with the jury or attempts to influence the jury. Jurors have a right to continue that privacy beyond their jury service, but they're not obligated to do so. And it would not surprise me if jurors choose to come forward and to speak, and they're encouraged to do so if that is their desire. I have no problem whatsoever with the jurors unmasking themselves and speaking freely with the media, because they have undergone a life-changing experience as it relates to many of them. And some of them are here now, and I want them to know that should anyone attempt to harass them or annoy them, please let me know, and I will address the issue. Secondly, there's a complaint now regarding the posting of autopsy photographs or photos that came from within the courtroom. It's based on the direction of the photographs. It did not come from the audience. It came somehow from within the well of the court.
What?
The parties have requested an investigation of that. I have my hands full doing my job, and I don't attempt to conduct any investigations beyond the conducting of a trial, but to the extent that law enforcement decides to review that, it will be a responsibility of law enforcement. Yes. And
how did that even happen?
of course, one of the reasons we've sought to seal graphic photos is because the parties have a right to privacy and a right to those matters not being publicly disclosed. If anyone has heard about the recent settlement that Kobe Bryant's, another sports analogy, Kobe Bryant's wife just made with Los Angeles County and others out there over certain disclosures of information involving the death of Kobe Bryant. Liability can be substantial, and it's a risk for the most part that's not worth taking. So we'll let everyone judge themselves accordingly with that regard.
Who leaked them?
aside from all that, our business is done here in Colleton County. And I get to use my gavel one or few times during this trial and order that court be adjourned. Sine die.
All rise.
So there's that. So yeah, I am confused though because, like, the judge brought up like the other cases, and I'm like, but I guess, but like sometimes it seems like there's a conflict of interest type situation, because he's like, you tried cases before me, and I'm like, wait, would it not be a conflict of interest for the judge that he has literally tried cases in front of to now try his own case? I don't know. Either way, me too, Wooden Eagle. I've always wanted to be on a jury because I'm nosy and stuff. Oh, you say you always get booted because you're previous LE. Well, that sucks. Okay, so I looked up what the term I can't even say it, but the judge said on the stand he acted duplicitous. Am I saying that right? Duplicitous? So I looked it up to see what it meant. And it means treacherous. So the judge basically said you got on the stand and the way you behaved, some of the things you said were treacherous. When he said that word, I'm like, what does that mean? Is he like getting on to him? Is he saying like your actions were terrible? See, I'm weird like that too, Stacey. But I'm like, how did they leak? First off, he said it didn't come from the audience of the court. So who leaked them? I don't know. A part of me is like, is it something that should be showed? Is it something that I'm gonna see if I can find it online? There's picture. I mean, okay, that's not a picture of her body, but that's a picture of where her body was. Okay, so the actual document is what's been leaked. Is that what's been leaked? Is it the document or is it like pictures of? Let me see when this happened. No, that wouldn't be it. You seen the pictures of the autopsy? Where are they at? Also, the fact that whatever media outlet is in the fact that they panned by the members of the jury ticks me off, honestly, because this is a high profile case and that family might still have ties to the wrong people. They may still have ties to the absolute wrong people. You don't know. Like, they may try to go after the members of the jury. Or, now some crazy fan of the situation might have seen the juror's face, which I did. I seen a couple of their faces, and try to figure out who they are, right? And then go try to harass them or something. My thing is like they protect their identity, and the only way their identity should come out is if they allow it to come out. I guess whatever news station that was in there decided, oh, well, now it's over. Their identities no longer needs to be kept secret. But it still should be up to them. Like any other case that I've ever come across, like Casey Anthony, O.J. Simpson, those jurors did not come out unless they wanted to. They did not have a media outlet out them, to my knowledge. And I don't think a media outlet should. And that ticks me off that whatever media outlet that was in there decided to pan by them because they thought, oh, well, the trial's over. They're no longer needed. Their identities no longer need to be kept sealed. But it should be absolutely up to them due to the nature of the case, due to the fact that the family may try to go after them. Like, I don't even know. People may try to go after them. I don't know, you know? I heard Court TV was who Zoomed that and called the jury. It's whoever's in there. And I don't know if they have more than one. Like, I don't know if they have a member of Court TV. I don't know if they have a member of Law and Crime. And it's like 2 or 3 of them. Or if it's just one and everybody's streaming just one. I'm not sure. Oh, God, I couldn't have went to this trial. I mean, I would have loved to have gone to this trial. But Georgia's like 14 hours from me. Yeah. So the judge said the photos were leaked, but didn't he say they were not leaked by the audience in the courtroom? So who leaked them? Like somebody from SLED? All right. I'll keep it up over here in case. Oh, yeah, let's watch this, you guys. Watch this. Watch. First off, the cop behind Alec, his face was like, he was literally mean-mugging Alec at times. And we're going to watch that in just a second.
On each of the murder indictments, in the murder of your wife, Maggie Murdaugh, I sentence you for a term of the rest of your natural life.
And that just happened moments ago. Convicted murderer and former attorney Alec Murdaugh was sentenced to life in prison this morning. Hi, everyone. I'm Michelle Yu. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, Michelle.
This came after the guilty verdict was reached last night by a Walterboro jury who were convinced beyond a reasonable doubt that Murdaugh killed his wife Maggie and son Paul back on June 7th of 2021. Before I bring my legal panel to chat about all of this, let's hear some of what Judge Newman had to say to Alec Murdaugh himself this morning before handing down his sentence.
A notice of alibi was filed in this case by counsel in November, and we conducted a hearing, pretrial hearing, in which you claimed to have been someplace else at the time the crime was committed. Then, after all of the witnesses placed you at the scene of the crime, at the last minute, last minutes or days, you switched courses and admitted to being there. And then that necessitated more lies and continued to lie. And I said, where will it end? It's already ended for many who have heard you and concluded that it'll never end. But within your own soul, you have to deal with that. And I know you have to see Paul and Maggie during the night times when you're attempting to go to sleep. I'm sure they come and visit you. I'm sure.
And every night.
I'm sure.
What's so crazy is what the judge was saying there. Like, I'm sure probably like you have nightmares of them the last time you saw them, right before you slaughtered them. That's what I felt like the judge was saying. Like, I'm sure he definitely misunderstood him. And Alec is like, yep, they sure do, all day, every day. And then the judge says, yeah, looking you in the eye the last moments before the last time they saw you. But I definitely think he meant, like, I definitely think he meant, like, I'm sure you see them all the time, right? You know, the seconds before you kill them and them knowing that you were about to kill them.
And they will continue to do so. And reflect on the last time they looked you in the eyes, as you looked the jury in the eyes. I don't know person who's always been such a gregarious, friendly person, and cause her life to be tangled in such a weave, web, such a situation that you yours have spun into. And it's so unfortunate because you have such a lovely family of such friendly people, including you, and to go from that to this.
And with that, I'm joined live by South Carolina local and law and crime correspondent Gigi McKelvey, who has been covering this trial for us from day one. Gigi, you were just in that courtroom for that verdict. It gave me goosebumps watching it in the studio here. What was it like in the courtroom? What did you see?
It was a very, very heavy air in there. We were sitting on the front row, just kind of diagonal from the family, and were able to watch their expressions, mostly emotionless as far as no tears. His sister sometimes shaking her head in disagreement with the judge when he was talking to Alec. But very powerful things in a respectful way to me from Judge Newman to Alec, who it almost was like, if that's going to make you, if anything is going to make Alec Murdaugh feel bad, it's the gentle way that he essentially told Alec, you are a liar and you continue to lie. And really powerful when he said, it might not have been you, it could be the monster you've become. And we all kind of, you could hear the air leave the room when he said that.
Were you surprised at all? Was the room surprised at all that Alec Murdaugh had something to say? And when he did have something to say, I got to be honest, he didn't sound very convincing, saying he was sorry.
No, and I don't think Judge Newman bought it either. And I guess that's what you have to say. He just doesn't want to be known as a wife and a son murderer. It's not what you want to go into prison with that on your back. I think, you know, you make your bed, you lay in it. But we all expected him to maintain his innocence, and he did twice. So I guess that's the last we'll hear from him on this criminal case. But goodness, I mean, like Judge Newman said, he's got over 90 cases pending with Alec Murdaugh.
Well, Gigi, we saw Buster Murdaugh, we saw John Marvin, we saw a lot of the family of Alec Murdaugh in that courtroom. When you saw them, what was their facial expression as they saw all of this go down?
Yeah, they're just very solemn, stoic at times. Did see a little bit of emotion creep out, you know, just nothing in a big way. But mainly the big thing was his sister, who was shaking her head several times when the judge was talking to Alec, shaking her head in disagreement that clearly she did not agree with what he was saying. I feel like, you know, they've been here every day. His sister's been, I don't think there's been a day she's missed. So it kind of lends the idea that she believes in Alec himself, that he did not murder Maggie and Paul. And, you know, I guess that's what families do sometimes. But you have to wonder, what have they learned sitting there every day in this trial that they didn't know coming in? Sure, there's a lot of issues that they're going to have to deal with for the rest of their life.
Judge Newman has really become a star in this case. Very profound, like the Zen master of all judges here, especially what he had to say. What really connected with me was he said, well, maybe it wasn't you who did it. It was the monster in you who did it. It was all that opioid addiction that caused you to be a different person. Then he handed down the life sentence, the consecutive life sentences for Alec Murdaugh. What were you surprised?
No, I mean, a double murder, it's in South Carolina, anytime you have a double murder, it's probably going to be life in prison. I didn't expect it to be any different from him. He's never getting out, obviously, now we know for sure, but there's so much surrounding this guy, and I'm not going to be surprised if so much more over the course of months or years is revealed about past crimes that he committed that have yet to be be
Well, we saw a very different looking Alec Murdaugh this morning. He was in that orange jumpsuit. He had flip-flops on. You're taking a look at that video right now. When you think about what happened between last night and now, Gigi, take us through what this past, 16 hours have been like.
Tell us, Gigi.
It's been a wild ride. You know, we were not expecting a verdict necessarily, but we got rumblings. We all ran to the courthouse. Every person that came inside that courtroom was breathing heavy because it was so last minute, wanted to get in. And then just the guilty verdict, when it was read, it was very surreal. Even though, you know, people have been divided here, honestly. There's been a lot of people who thought this would be a hung jury.
Same.
And in fact, a couple of jurors were in the beginning. More on the not guilty side. Took about 45 minutes to convince those two that he was guilty. And you had that reading. It was hard to watch the family, Buster especially, He took it very hard when Alec turned around, looked at him, and said, "It's okay, I love you." That was when Alec immediately teared up, got the red face, connected eyes, the emotion started. Buster kind of looked down after that. And so it's been a roller coaster. A little bit of relief, a little bit of feeling bad for people, for the family, and then the families that weren't in that courtroom, people that have been affected by Alec who have not had their day in court, all these financial victims. There's so much more to come with this man.
I wonder if the
Yeah, and
Satterfield
we
boys
did
were
see
there.
Alec Murdaugh walk out of that courtroom. It was a tan jumpsuit. Wasn't so orange as we all expected. It was a tan jumpsuit. I want to clarify that. Gigi, thank you so much for all your great reporting. I'm sure we will hear more from you from the rest of the day. I know you have a lot to do now, so thank you so much. We'll hear from you soon. We do have to take a quick break here on Law and Crime. So much more to discuss about the sentencing hearing that we just saw. Stay with us.
Y'all, I'm not gonna lie. Okay, I'm shocked. And she said there were two that was leaning on the side of not hung jury, but not guilty. She said there were two that was leaning on not guilty. Took about 45 minutes to convince them. I'm like, hold up. So they sat through a trial for 28 days and we're not convinced. But in 45 minutes, they could be convinced. Like, were they really convinced, or were they just like, you know what, I'm ready to get home. Fine, guilty. 28 days, 27 days, 26 days, weeks. They sat on the jury for 3 weeks and were not convinced. Still was leaning towards not guilty. So how, in a matter of 45 minutes, did 10 other people? To me, it looks like maybe peer pressure, ready to get home. I don't know, just my opinion. Either way, isn't that why? And then they had a third that was leaning towards not guilty, wasn't sure, and that was the one that was sent home that morning. When I don't use any other Believe products, but just because I've not tried them, I have so many other products because I do Ipsy and I get a lot of Ipsy stuff. So I have it, but I did use the setting spray once and I did like it. It was okay. I used the concealer once and I did not like it. I didn't like the concealer. It wrinkled up underneath my eyes. Probably was convinced after his testimony, then never gave straight answers. They're saying that, from my understanding, they're saying when they went into the jury room, they were leaning towards not guilty. I just really thought it would be a hung jury. I really did. But that's just because before the trial even started, I'm like, he did it, he's guilty. But once the trial started and I started really looking into it, and when I did watch the trial, like I said, there would be moments when I would listen to the prosecution and be like, oh yeah, he's guilty, 100%. Then I would listen to the defense and be like, oh, well, I guess he's not guilty. So for me, there was just no way I could give a guilty in that way. In my opinion, he will kill himself. Or maybe, because I don't think he'll kill himself, because just like he couldn't before, I don't think he's able. I don't think he wants to. I think he wants to, but I don't think he's capable of doing it. I think he's too scared. Just like he paid Cousin Eddie to try to kill him that one time. So here's what I think he'll do. Possibly. He'll appeal. If he loses the appeal, whatever, he might convince one of the other guys in the prison that's there forever to do it for a pair of the sneakers that everybody wants. He's got sneakers in there that everybody wants. Those orange sneakers or whatever. Yeah, the Believe concealer did not work good with the foundation. It caused, I do not use a primer. I used to use primers, and then I realized that it just didn't make a difference for me. So I quit using primers. But yeah, if you use the concealer with the foundation, I would say try the foundation again without that concealer. The concealer that I use is a Milani concealer, and it does really good with not causing creases. I use Kat Von D as well. And Kat Von D, I really like Kat Von D, but if I get it close to my eyes, it makes my eyes burn on fire. It makes me cry. I can't stop. I can't, because it burns really bad. Anyways, I'm sorry, you guys, this has turned into a makeup video. I do my makeup some mornings over on my Facebook account. So if you guys want to see me do my makeup more and talk about the products that I use and show everything that I use, follow me over on Facebook. What's today? I'll probably do that tomorrow. I'll probably go live over on Facebook and do my makeup. I do my makeup. We chit chat about whatever. So, yeah, Tiff J says, I don't think he has the balls to kill himself. I don't either. The concealer is awful. It looked like I had cake on my face. Yeah, I didn't like the concealer. What niggle do you use their concealer? Alec will commit suicide or he will become a bitch to another jailer. Well, right now, I think they're keeping him segregated, aren't they? I know one of the phone calls, he said they were keeping him out of, like, gym population. Okay, they'll have to separate him in prison. If he's the one who sent people away. Oh, yeah, that's the thing. Is he might be in prison with people that he sent to prison. All the things. Okay, I want to go back and watch this. Did it show him coming in? Yeah, it did. It showed him coming in this morning. Let's watch that. I bet he didn't sleep good last night. All right, so this is when he got there. So that cop standing where we can see his face, holding the bag, he's the one that was mean mugging the hell out of Alec. There you go. What shoes he got on? Oh, he got on them orange slides. Them Yeezys. I'm just kidding. But Kanye did make some shoes that look like that. And I'm wondering if they're comfortable because I think they're ugly as all get out. But people pay a pretty penny for them, so. Maybe that's where Kanye got the idea to make slides like that. From the jail shoes. All right. Is that the hot cop right there? I think that's the hot cop that everybody's made a fuss about. Wow, no you didn't. Just jump up in the way of the camera with your camera. All right, y'all. All right, we're going to go back because I want to go over when it first started and the prosecution was talking. All right, let's watch it again. Really quickly, because the cop sitting behind Alec is mean mugging him, shaking his head at the things that the judge and the prosecution say.
Bench is ready, Your Honor.
All right, from the state, Mr. Waters.
Thank you, Your Honor. We're obviously here in the sentencing for the state versus Richard Alexander Murdaugh. Your Honor, I have prepared the sentencing sheets signed up. If I can hand those up to the clerk. Your Honor, very quickly, the defendant has no prior record, and the state has no victim impact people who want to speak at this time. But I will address the court briefly. And I don't need, Your Honor, to repeat the evidence that Your Honor just heard for the past 6 weeks, but it is overwhelming. And it shows this man to be a cunning manipulator, a man who placed himself above all others, including his family. A man who violated the trust of so many, including his friends, his family, his partners, his profession, but most of all, Maggie and Paul.
Look at it.
This is a very complicated situation, and I want
Y'all watch this cop sitting behind Alec.
to offer my condolences to the family that has suffered here. We have tried very hard to be respectful and sensitive regardless of what position any person took, because this family has suffered and they've had to suffer in the public eye. And I want to offer my condolences to this family. I want to offer it for Maggie and Paul and Mr. Randolph too, who I had the pleasure of working with on one occasion. But the reality remains is that despite all this attention, this case is about Maggie Murdaugh and Paul Murdaugh, and I'm so thankful that the jurors gave them a voice. You heard about Paul. Obviously, there was the boat case, but you also heard him described as a fun-loving young man, a person who loved life, a person who would do anything for his friends, for anyone. And he's cut down as he was just starting to live his life. You heard about Maggie. You heard how sweet she was. You heard that she was a girl's girl who adapted to the outdoorsman life of her sons, how much she loved her sister and her brother-in-law and their children.
Look at him.
And she was cut down in the prime of her life. Both of them,
Y'all see how he's like eyeballing Alec?
like everyone else, was unaware of who he really was. No one who thought they knew this man, no one who thought they were close to this man knew who he really was. And, Your Honor, that's chilling.
I'm going to zoom in on
And I've looked in his eyes, and he liked to stare me down as he would walk by me during this trial. And I could see the real Alex Murdaugh stare me down as he would walk by me during this trial. And I could see the real Alex Murdaugh.
I think he said, I never done that. I think he said, I never done that. I'm going to zoom in. Hold on. All right, they got him cut off. All right, so let me back up a little bit.
To live his life. You heard about Maggie. You heard how sweet she was. You heard that she was a girl's girl who adapted to the outdoorsman life of her sons, how much she loved her sister and her brother-in-law and their children. And she was cut down in the prime of her life. Both of them, like everyone else, was unaware of who he really was. No one who thought they knew this man, no one who thought they were close to this man knew who he really was. And, Your Honor, that's chilling. And I've looked in his eyes, and he liked to stare me down as he would walk by me during this trial. And I could see the real Alex Murdaugh.
He said, I never done that, but it seems like he said, I never done that, but.
When he looked at me. The depravity, the callousness, the selfishness of these crimes are stunning. The lack of remorse and the effortless way in which he lies, including here, sitting right over there.
Dang it!
In this witness stand. Your Honor, a man like that, a man like this man, should never be allowed to be among free, law-abiding citizens again. And I would submit to you that the only just sentence here to give justice for Maggie Hall is the maximum, and that would be 2 consecutive life sentences. Thank you, Your Honor.
I'm blown
You
away.
indicate that no victim would like to speak at this time. Would any victim like to speak at any time during these proceedings?
One of the things we did early on, obviously, as I just said, it's a very complicated situation, but we made the decision early on. We've had our victim advocate here who's been doing a wonderful job, regardless of the viewpoints of any individual family member, to provide aid and service to them, and we made that decision. I'm informed by our victim advocate that none of them wish to speak. The defense can certainly address that, but that's what I'm informed. They certainly were offered the opportunity as is required, and I want to commend our victim advocate on the excellent job she did in handling this complex situation that we wanted to be sensitive to, because again, none of us are not mindful of the fact of the suffering of this family.
of the most troubling cases, not just for me as a judge, for the state, for the defense team, but for all of the citizens in this community, all the citizens in this state, and as we've seen based on the family who has controlled justice in this community for over a century, a person whose grandfather's portrait hang at the back of the courthouse that I had to have ordered removed in order to ensure that a fair trial was had by both the state and the defense. And I've sat through the trial. Not only have I sat through the trial, but also as the presiding judge of the state grand jury sat through and participated in the issuance of search warrants of various sorts, bond hearings, and have had to consider many things. And we have this case, and I'm also assigned to preside over 99 others, at least 99 other cases. Though testimony has come up regarding many of those other cases, I will not make any comment with regard to any other pending matter, as I have been assigned those cases as well. It's also particularly troubling, Mr. Murdaugh, because as a member of the legal community and a well-known member of the legal community, you've practiced law before me, and we've seen each other at various occasions throughout the years. And it was especially heartbreaking for me to see you go in the media from being a grieving father who lost a wife and a son to being the person indicted and convicted of killing them. And you've engaged in such duplicitous conduct.
Treacherous. It means treacherous.
Here in the courtroom, here on the witness stand.
Did he?
And as established by the testimony throughout the time leading from the time of the indictment and prior to the indictment throughout the trial to this moment in time, certainly you have no obligation to say anything other than saying not guilty. And obviously, as appeals are probably expected or absolutely expected,
You already know.
I would not expect a confession of any kind. In fact, as I've presided over murder cases over the past 22 years, I have yet to find a defendant who could go there, who could go back to that moment in time when they decided to pull the trigger or to otherwise murder someone. I have not been able to get anyone, any defendant, even those who have confessed to being guilty, to go back and explain to me what happened at that moment in time when they opted to pull the trigger, when they opted to commit the most heinous crimes known to man. In this case, qualifies under our death penalty statute, based on the statutory aggravating circumstances of two or more people being murdered by the defendant by one act or pursuant to one scheme or course of conduct. I don't question at all the decision of the state not to pursue the death penalty. But as I sit here in this courtroom and look around the many portraits of judges and other court officials and reflect on the fact that over the past century, your family, including you, have been prosecuting people here in this courtroom, and many have received the death penalty.
So wild.
Probably for lesser conduct.
Ah! True.
Remind me of the expression you gave on the witness stand. Was it tangled?
Tangled web, we weave.
Or what tangled web we weave? What did you mean by that?
It meant when I lied, I continue to lie.
And the question is, when will it end? When will it end? And it's ended already for the jury because they've concluded that you continued to lie and lied throughout your testimony. And perhaps with all the throng of people here, they, for the most part, all believe, or 80, 90%, 99% believe that you continue to lie now when your statement of denial to the court. Perhaps you believe that it does not matter, that there's nothing that can mitigate a sentence given the crimes that were committed. You know, a notice of alibi was filed in this case by counsel in November, and we conducted a hearing, pretrial hearing, in which you claimed to have been someplace else at the time the crime was committed. Then, after all of the witnesses placed you at the scene of the crime, at the last minute, or last minutes or days, you switch courses and admitted to being there. And then that necessitated more lies and continued to lie. And I said, where will it end? It's already ended for many who have heard you and concluded that it'll never end. But within your own soul, you have to deal with that. And I know you have to.
Randy shook his head yes. Randy's like,
See
yeah.
Paul and Maggie during the night times when you're attempting to go to sleep. I'm sure they come and visit you. I'm sure.
Look at the guard, yep.
And every night.
I'm sure. And they will continue to do so. And reflect on the last time they looked you in the eyes.
Was it when you
As you
were
looked
pulling
the
the
jury in
trigger?
the eyes. I don't know person who's always been such a gregarious, friendly person and cause your life to be tangled in such a web, such a situation that yours have spun into, and it's so unfortunate because you had such a lovely family of such friendly people, including you, and to go from that to this.
Look at the lady sitting behind. Look at the lady sitting behind Alec Murdaugh's sister. So the lady in the red back there. The whole time she's like, yep, nope, yep, nope.
You know, your license to practice law has been stripped away from you. You turned from lawyer to witness. and now have an opportunity to make your final appeal as an ex-lawyer. It's really surprising that you're waiving this right at this time. And if you opt to do so, it's on you. You're not compelled to say anything, but you have the opportunity to do so.
And I tell you again, I respect this court, but I'm innocent. I would never, under any circumstances, hurt my wife, Maggie, and I would never, under any circumstances, hurt my son, Paul.
Look at that.
And it might not have been you.
Look at the officer behind him when he makes that comment. He shakes his head no again. Like he knows something. He's like he knows he did it. I don't know.
But you have the opportunity to do so.
And I tell you again, I respect this court, but I'm innocent. I would never, under any circumstances, hurt my wife, Maggie, and I would never, under any circumstances, hurt my son, Paul.
Well, and it might not have been you. It might have been the monster you become when you take 15, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 opioid pills. Maybe you become another person. I've seen that before. The person standing before me was not the person who committed the crime, though it's the same individual. We'll leave that at that. Before announcing sentence on these cases, with regard to all of the other pending cases, are any of them here in Colleton, or I'm sure some of them are?
Yes, sir.
Half of them, or?
I don't have that in front of me, but there are a substantial number of charges here. There's some in Hampton, Hartford, Beaufort, Allendale. There may be others that I'm not thinking of right now.
We might have worn out our welcome here in Colleton. They have been, and I'll take this opportunity to thank Sheriff Hill and all of the court officials and really everyone I've met and dealt with while here in Colleton County. Just been great. But without any delay, we're going to schedule some of the other matters. I know Mr. Harpootlian's scheduling is complicated, and you sacrificed quite a bit to be able to be here defending Mr. Murdaugh, as well as the Attorney General's office, with all the other many things and obligations you have. And to be able to have the Attorney General here, Alan Wilson, for the period of time that he's devoted to being here, along with everyone else, it's been quite a sacrifice. But there are other victims whose cases deserve to be heard. And this case has jumped some of those other cases. Perhaps jumped it because of this.
So I wanted to go back and watch that just because the officer was clearly like shaking his head, yes, no, yes, no. Where's Jose Baez when you need him? And I want to be clear that I just thought the state would do a better job, because at the end of the day, I was not convinced by what they told me, because when I would hear the defense, when I would hear the state say X, Y, and Z, I'm like, okay, he did it. But then when I would hear the defense counter that argument, I would be like, oh, well, that does kind of make sense. So then I would just be questioning too much to where I just would have been a hung jury member. I would have been like, I don't know. And someone said a while ago, or asked, to be a member of the jury, did you have to agree with the death penalty? Not to my knowledge, because this was not a death penalty case. It could have been, from what they said, it could have been a death penalty case, but they chose just to go for life in prison for whatever reason, or rather it was to spare Buster from, now losing his dad as well. That might be the reason why they did not go for the death penalty, but either way they didn't. So I don't know. Does anybody know that? Yeah, I don't think you would have to be in agreement to the death penalty to be picked as a jury member. I don't think. Just because this was not a death penalty case. Maybe in a death penalty case, maybe you do have to be for it, and that would make sense. That would make sense that you would have to be for the death penalty in a death penalty case, because well, if you're not going to find the person guilty no matter what, because you would be sentencing, you could possibly be sentencing that person to death. So that would make sense. I want to know where the clothes are that he was wearing that day. Me too. Me too. Where's the clothes? The guns. Were they verified to be his guns? I didn't know. What did they lie about? Yeah, way too many unanswered questions for me too. I don't know. Yeah, I'm still not there's that part of me that's like, well, sure he did it. Of course he did it. But then there's like, but I don't feel like they proved that he did it. I know I cannot believe that Maggie's sister didn't get up and do a victim impact statement, but maybe she didn't, because can you imagine what position she is in right now? Okay, like I saw a picture. Here, babe. Hi. Come give me a kiss real quick. Go have a good day at school, okay? I'll see you when you get back. Did you have fun last night?
Yeah. And I'm so excited for today. At the end of school, too. We could stay candy Monday.
Oh, is it? Is today Friday? Wow. I didn't even know. Well, have fun playing Candyland, babe. I love you.
I love you too.
She dropped her money, I think. Help her get it, Dad. She said, help me get it. See, that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, Alec is an attorney. So surely if he planned this to do this, he would have planned it much better. I don't know. Kenny's off to school. Yesterday, Sean worked from like 8 this morning, and then I had to take Eli to the dentist. So I had Kennedy for a little bit, and then because she was going to Disney on Ice, Paris stayed with her for a while until she left with Grandma to go to Disney on Ice. That was her field trip for school. So Kennedy, my daughter, is homeschooled, and Sean's mom homeschools her. And they had a field trip to go to Disney on Ice, which was really fun. And she unfortunately got home last night when I was out here working. And Sean, she was in bed by the time I went inside, so I didn't get to ask her how it went. Yeah. If he hadn't lied so much, it would have been a little harder to decide, I bet. Yeah, like if he wouldn't have lied. I really do believe, like the defense said, if he would not have lied about being down there, if he would have said, well, when they said, when's the last time you saw him? If he would have said, well, we ate supper at about this time. Then Maggie and Paul was going to go down to the kennels. At first, I said I didn't want to go because I just had a shower, just ate. And anytime I go to the kennels, I know I'm going to be put to work, you know. So at first, I said no. But then after they left, I kind of felt bad. So I hopped on the golf cart and I rode down there. But I wasn't down there in no time, and I was having to work. I was having to chase the dog to get the chicken out of his mouth. And, you know, I realized, yep, you're going to have to work. So I told Paul and Maggie, hey, I'm headed back up to the house. Got back up to the house, and I decided no sooner than walking into the house, kind of on my way back up, driving in the golf cart, I decided, you know what, I'm going to run over and visit Mama. Daddy got put into the hospital. I'm going to go check on my mom. It's a little late, but I'm going to go check on Mama. So I got back in the house, grabbed my keys, shot Maggie a text. Maybe I shouldn't say shot Maggie in the same sentence. Sent Maggie a text, or tried to call Maggie to tell Maggie that I was going. She didn't answer. So I sent her a text. Hey, Mags, I'm going to visit Mom. And I grabbed my keys and I made like a baby. Head out, you know. And I left. And I don't know. I mean, I guess I was at my mom's house about maybe 30, 45 minutes. You can check my phone in my truck. It'll tell you. I'm not good with time. If he would have said all that, I really think, you know, if he would have said, I was down there a few minutes, but I left because no sooner than I got down there, I was starting to do work and I was sweating and I didn't want to get sweaty. So I went back to the house. On the way up, decided to go to Mom's. You know, I actually called Max to see if she wanted to go with me, but she didn't answer. So I went ahead and went myself. I think if he would have said all of that, then maybe I don't know, maybe. Faith, your story is just so heartbreaking. Jerry D, you found my Facebook page? I'll share it at the end of this. I'll show you guys a picture of my Facebook page because, like I said, I do get ready with me's where I do my makeup and I gotta fix my hair in a little bit, but nappy hair. If it weren't for the cell phone, yeah, that's true too. If it was not for that cell phone footage, he probably would have skated. He probably would have got away with lying about it. Oh, and somebody asked, did the defense put in for a change of venue? I don't think so, because usually if you put in for a change of venue, I feel like you get it, right? So I don't think so. And if they didn't, it could be because they may have thought they had enough pull in that area to win it. Like they may have thought, I mean, come on, it's the Murdaughs. While some people might believe he's guilty, nobody's going to find him guilty of this, you know? So maybe they thought it would be beneficial for them to have their trial in Colleton County. Faith in Humanity says, my daughter didn't die in vain. We started a foundation for other children. Your story is so heartbreaking, Faith. But yeah, there are pictures out of the autopsies, so you can see their bodies laying on, in the morgue. Yeah, they thought they had the home field advantage. The prosecution was from 2 hours away. That confused me. So maybe they got prosecuted. Well, that would make sense that they would have to bring in a prosecution team from a different area, because so many. I mean, who in that area would want to prosecute Alec Murdaugh and didn't have a close relationship with him? There probably wasn't a prosecutor in Colleton County that had not worked closely with Alec Murdaugh. I do have a Snapchat, but I don't really do much on there. But I mean, I'll share it with you guys if you guys want to add me on Snapchat. I post pictures sometimes. Yeah, Maitland Gandy, man. So I was sent a picture of Paul and two of Maggie, but one is of the guy holding a picture. You can just see the side of her head, and then there's a picture of her laying on the table from like top of her breast up, and then a full picture of Paul, but it is kind of from far away. And I will just say it appears that he has a really big hole in his chest, and it looks like you can see his face, but it looks like his face is distorted. Now they say he got shot like in the top of the head, I think is what they said. So more than likely, if he was to be flipped over, like some of his head would be missing. Yeah, I didn't find them; they were sent to me. But either way, honestly, I kind of wanted to see. I am a true crime girl. Like growing up, me and my dad love watching the ID channel, Forensic Files, Unsolved Mysteries, and they show things like that. I mean, and that's just what it is. Like when people got mad at me for playing dash cam footage, the body cam and dash cam from a potential suicide of a case that I was covering, when literally the body cam never showed the victim. It showed the place where the victim allegedly tried to hang himself, the rope still on the ground, and them talking to his wife. It never showed the victim. One part where they pull him out on a gurney, he's completely blurred. I was like dumbfounded that people were so upset over that. Because I'm like, do y'all watch? Like this, my channel now is a true crime channel. Do y'all watch true crime, other true crime channels, or true crime TV shows like Snapped, and you know what I'm saying? Like, they show all of the stuff. I mean, it was kind of. Anyways, yeah. This is the first live chat I've been on. So excited. I like to listen to you when I'm cleaning and walking my dog. Oh, I'm glad you're here. Glad you're here. Hate to say it, I would like to see them. It's scientific to me. Yeah, and it can make it make sense, you know? Like, when you look, I don't know. I mean, there's people that work in morgues that deal with this stuff. I mean, are you going to be like, oh my God, you're sick, you know? Well, okay. So I don't think the attorney accidentally leaked them. I think the attorney accidentally held them in a position where someone took a picture of them. That's what it looks like to me, right, Candy? These were put on Reddit somehow. So it looks like when they showed them, the attorneys did not cover the screen. Like this one of Maggie is on the screen. They forgot to put, because they had papers, they would flip over the screen so people in the back couldn't see them. But that way the jury can see them. So it looks like when this one of Maggie come up on the screen, they forgot to flip the paper over, or maybe they didn't flip it over before it popped up. Maybe they waited a split second and someone took a picture of it really quickly, which you're not supposed to have any device capable of taking pictures. Oh, no. Yeah. This is actually from Law and Crime. Wow. This one's not. This was not from Law and Crime. So one of the photos is from the angle of the officer, the attorney talking, and he has the photo and he kind of turns this way, and the camera that was in the courtroom is this way, and it catches it, right? So it was shown for a split second, this one for sure. Because this, I can show you guys, this right here. See, that's Law and Crime, like, they're set up. The dark blue, the light blue. I'm not showing the picture. I zoomed in just to show you guys, like, so. Attorneys made the, right, okay, because I'm like, what? The attorneys leaked the pictures? That's stupid. Why would he do that? I'm thinking who leaked them to social media and who put them out there. But it looks like Law and Crime captured one, or whoever the media outlet that was in the courtroom, whoever that was, captured this one by accident, it seems, because the attorney turned a little too far. Now this one looks like from behind a desk. There's no way I can show you guys this one unless you guys wanted to see the photos. But we were not behind any of the desks. We were in front of the desk. Like, if you're looking, all the desks are, we're right here, looking down into the courtroom. The desks are over here, facing that way. But to get this picture, you would have been having to sit back here, facing the desk. So, I don't know. It seems like someone took pictures of these that showed up on. Oh, you guys. Guilty. Life in prison. All of his natural born life. He will come out of there when his heart stops beating, which they will file for an appeal. For sure. They're going to file for an appeal. But we're going to go ahead and close this video out. We went on for an hour and 40 minutes. And like I said, I had to take my son to the dentist yesterday. And one thing that I was doing is I was watching some of the older footage of the trial, just because I want to get caught up. And I do want to watch all of it eventually, if I can ever get to that point. But while my son was in the dentist chair, I was, watching. And there were things that I was like, oh, I want to upload this. So I uploaded John Marvin, which is Alec Murdaugh's brother, the youngest brother. I uploaded a video of him detailing the last time he saw Paul. I think I also uploaded one where he details how he found out about Paul and the fact that he cleaned that area. If I haven't uploaded that one yet, I'm going to. I think as I try to have time to go through this, if I find clips of things that I think are of interest, I'll upload them. Oh, I uploaded where the juror got sent home too. Where the member of the jury got sent home, I uploaded that. So I might upload little bits and pieces of things that I think are interesting. So if you see little uploads like that, it's just things that I watched that I thought was interesting. That because I was like, when I heard that a member of the jury got sent home, I'm like, what? So I'm gonna go watch it. I'm like, member of the jury got sent home, and I could not find a short clip. All that I saw was the full 8-hour clip. Or at that time, they were still live. It was like 4 hours. You had to like go back, you know. So I was like, well, I'm gonna upload just the clip of her being addressed and talking about it beforehand, sending her home, in that situation. Do you know the cameras will be in the do you know if cameras will be in the Daybell case? They will not be in the Daybell case. The Letitia Stotch case, I like to see the court case. So they ruled against having cameras in the Daybell case, and I'm not familiar with the Letitia Stotch case. But I'll see if I can figure that out. He has grounds for an appeal for sure. Prosecution tiptoed over the line of character assassination with the financial crimes. Faith in Humanity says, I worked in the morgue for years when I was in college, then went to maternity. Yeah, I have a close friend, family friend that worked in a morgue, and he was like great people. So, I mean, I don't know why they act like if you show certain things, you're like demented or something. It's not like I'm killing people. I'm just covering true crime because I'm interested in it. And, you know, it was Paul's head picture after they pulled this. Hey, Colleen. That's terrible. But we're going to go ahead and end this one, you guys. I got to run in the house for a little bit, get something done with this hair. I'll be back out here later. I know there's some Brian Kohlberger. They unsealed the affidavit, the search warrant affidavit. Sent you a few emails. When did you send them? Because I'm behind on my emails as well. I'm behind on everything, you guys. Forgive me. When does he get tried for his financial crimes? I'm not sure, but I'm sure it'll be coming up in the next few months or whatever. But they're going to file an appeal for this for sure. But I'm going to keep up with this. Once they file an appeal, I'll let you guys know. If you guys want me to keep up with the financial crimes, I'll do that. So you guys just let me know in the comment section. Tanner's case will not be media friendly either. Tanner Horner. Give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. And I'll see you guys back here later today. Oh, also you guys, go over to the Bash Chat channel. Honey Boo Boo's boyfriend got arrested on the 28th. He led the police officers on a 3-mile chase. Got pulled over. Honey Boo Boo was in the car. And the way they got him to pull over is they had to use the pit maneuver, which is when the car's like, going. And the cop, so here's the car going. The cop comes up beside you and hits you, and your car spins over and stops, right? So go over to the Bash Chat. Honey Boo Boo's boyfriend got arrested, spent 3 days in jail, bonded out. Honey Boo Boo was in the car with him when the cops had to use this dangerous pit maneuver to get him to stop. Y'all go check that video out. I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye, everyone.